like notes through the hourglass. These are the songs of our lives. Welcome to the latest episode of Songs of Our Lives. I am Brad Rose. I am a musician, a composer, an artist, a writer, the founder of Foxy, Digitalis, and a whole lot more. And I think about music and sound probably far more than is healthy. Each week I invite on somebody who I know or respect or am interested in, think is interesting, I don't know, or all of those things. And I ask them about the songs that have left a mark and made an impact on their lives. This week, I am really excited to welcome Larry Wish, who is an artist, musician, a singer, a very theatrical person. Let's just say that. Anyway, he has a new album out called Capricorn Sun. It just came out recently on Orange Milk, and it is really wonderful and fun and just strange. And I've always found him to be such an intriguing figure. I don't know Larry well. You know, we kind of know each other just through, various places, and, I've written about some of his work and things like that. But based on just his work and his Instagram page, especially, I felt like he would be a really interesting guest on here. And I wasn't wrong. So we recorded this a couple weeks ago on Zoom and had a really good time. I hope you enjoy it. My guest today is a artist, musician, composer, all of those things, and has an Instagram account that sometimes terrifies me. Please welcome to the show, Larry Wish.
Hello. That's the best introduction and perfect for spooky season.
Yeah, I know, right? That's true. Yeah, those recent pictures you posted with the mask or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, and I love it, but it freaks me out a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the Composerhead character.
I love it. I guess I'm going to ask about the record in a second, but that is a question. You do seem to have characters. Is that like, or you do a lot of, I don't know, like, I mean, you seem to get into character a bit. Is that a thing?
Sure. Yeah. I like theatrics, and I like kind of different personas. Maybe not like fully like as wildly different and thought out as like this newest Composerhead character, for example. But I feel like if I'm playing with the live band versus doing like a solo show, in any direction that a solo show can go, I feel like I am operating like my mind differently and acting differently. So there's a bit of compartmentalization with like personas across the performance board for me, for sure.
I mean, I love it. I think it just adds this other, I mean, it's one of the things I've always been drawn to in your work is there's this layer of, it's fun. Like I can tell, nice. Like, I mean, it's so well written, and there's all those aspects, but it's fun. Like, and I think that sometimes is and I talk about this a lot on all of my shows, but sure. I feel like that's like often a missing component to some kinds of music, where it sometimes can feel too self-serious, and it's like, I love how much fun you seem to have with it.
I hear you, and I feel like, I've had a lot of those thoughts before, and like fun and playfulness is has been such a part of music for, it seems like, so much of human history that it feels really good to play with that energy and not to totally like cast it off.
Yeah, no, I think, I love it. Well, real quick, so you got a new album that just came out a week ago. I guess it's beginning of September.
September 1st, whenever that was.
Yeah, I have no idea. You could tell me it's like next year, and I'd be like, sure, sounds good.
I'm with you.
But yeah, so Capricorn Sun, what I like it a lot. I wrote about it a couple weeks ago.
Thank you.
I'm really curious, like why you were making it, or once it was like what is the thing about it that surprised you the most?
I think the thing about it that surprised me the most is that as I was going along, and certainly like looking back on the finished album now that it's all done, is the whole like nautical and naval and like ships and boats and water theme was not planned at all, but it kept on it just kept on happening in ways that felt like, okay, keep going down this hallway and see where this takes you.
That's wow.
Yeah,
that's
I don't
wild.
know if it ended up in like an entirely like comprehensive like concept album or theme across the map like that, but there's certainly a number of songs about boats and ships and water and the Navy.
That's great. I would have totally guessed that was just part of the plan. I love that. That makes me love it even more.
We got to embrace the happy accidents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's I feel like most of my best ideas come from those, so
Truly.
Well, let's get into it. Speaking of my best ideas, this show has been so much fun. I will say that when I got your list of songs, I was listening to it, I was like, okay, I feel like I understand Larry Wish and your music better. And I love that about this.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So
I don't want to be a mystery. I'm like not trying to be enshrouded in any sort of mystery, and so any sort of like clarity that I can bring to the table is perfect. Awesome.
Well, hopefully others will, as they listen to this, will also get a clearer picture, and then of course they need to check out your new record and other stuff and all that. But
please,
let's first go all the way back and talk about what is the first song you remember.
The first song I remember, and now I need to actually consult the list a little bit. The first song that I remember is "Send in the Clowns."
Oh wow!
By Stephen Sondheim, and that's because it was a music box that I had when I was a little baby, and it was of kind of this raggedy looking clown, and the music box played "Send in the Clowns." Wow! And so this was the very first music I remember, and actually it really sent me on my path as far as like creating music goes, and like feelings that I like to chase, because I had that music box until I was about 3. When I was about 3, might have been 4, I decided to smash that music box with a hammer because it made me feel so happy and so sad at the same time, and like little tiny me could not understand how those two feelings could coexist together.
Right, for sure.
And so kind of that like bittersweet, happy, sad feeling that like was so scary and weird to me then is now something that like ever since I've started making music of my own, that's like a feeling that I am chasing hard
for
constantly.
Sure. Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, and I feel like that feeling in a like this is kind of almost the pinnacle of that in a way, in a song, like of capturing that.
Yes.
That's amazing. So one of the things that always happens as I've been doing this, because I get the song list, I get it in random order, I don't know what any of the picks are. Your brain starts thinking like, oh, I wonder if that's this, or I wonder if that. Never. Like, if you would have told me, if you would have been like, this is the greatest song ever, I would have been like, yeah, that track, like I could, you can make that case. Like it is so good. It is. And in this version of it too, like the just Stephen Sondheim playing, because there's a million different versions of it. Mm-hmm. And this one particularly, I feel like just heightens all the emotion because it feels so raw and visceral and
cool. Oh, I'm glad.
It's an amazing song. I love this song, and it's such a like the writing of it, like the different meters it's in, and it's so complex and like deceptively complex. But wow, okay, I love it. See, we're off to a great start. I can't believe that's the first. What a first song!
Yeah,
wow,
truly.
Well, and this could have also been probably an answer to this question. But what? Well, I guess first I'm going to ask: are you a crier?
Oh yeah, like constantly for sure.
Do you? I know that you have a new baby.
Yes.
Do you feel like? Because I have a 10-year-old.
Cool.
Do you feel like you cry more now?
Yeah, maybe just because it's so the release that the emotions create is so like readily available almost constantly, like every day. Yes. Like I just this morning at like 5:45 I was feeding Nomi a bottle and just looking at him and totally just weeping. Yeah.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I mean, I mean, she's 10, and anyway.
I'm ready to cry forever.
Right, exactly. Well, so what's a song that usually will make you cry?
Ooh, a song that usually will make me cry. Let's see. That one, I think that one was Two Ragged Soldiers by Scott Walker.
Yeah. That's a hell of a song. And I feel like one of the things I love about Scott Walker is that he has this ability to, well, he paints these pictures, but he captures these sort of like very small, very specific like feelings or moments in a way that is just so powerful. It's like things that would be often forgotten or something, but he sort of distills them into these perfect songs.
Right.
And
that song specifically for me just makes me think of, I mean, because the way that I think about that song and it seems like a lot of the poetry involved is these kind of like two old, like life war-torn fools like walking around and pretending to be on a grand adventure and just kind of like living the last moments of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels to me when I get together with like other musicians.
Oh my God.
To play music or to play a show or to record. It's kind of like we're all these like fools who are like daring to dream and we're all like hoping to like contribute so much and do so much, but really we're just these fools who everyone else is like, why don't you get a job? Or
right. What are you doing? That, oh my God, yeah, that's so true. I'm Scott Walker is like, of course, one of my all-time favorites, and I love all his stuff. But for me, like Scott 3 that's the one that's the one for me.
It's beautiful.
When I did this on the other, like, answer these questions, because I recorded one last week where somebody else interviewed me, and this was almost my, like, It's Raining Today was almost my pick for the greatest song of all time. I picked something else, but I think that one you can make a case for about any song on that record, honestly. But
totally.
And yeah, when I saw that, I was like, Scott Walker I was trying to describe your music to somebody today when I was telling them we were doing this, and they knew Orange Milk. I was like, imagine if Scott Walker was on Orange Milk.
Oh, that's like, wonderful. I love that. Yeah.
They were like, that sounds bananas. I was like, yeah, go listen to it. You'll love it. Well, so we going kind of the other direction. What is a song that always puts you in a better mood?
Ooh, a song that puts me in a better mood. Oh, that one was Feeling Stronger Every Day by Chicago.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that one, just like there was a period like last year where for months and months that was like the go-to song in my van whenever I was going anywhere and like dealing with like some, whatever life throws at you kind of stuff. And so just like popping on, the tape player and hearing that was like, okay, yes, I can deal with anything. It's like it's definitely a pump up song for me.
Yeah, it's like very anthemic, but not in a way I normally think of something as being anthemic, because it's very, it's like, it's almost, it's like a self-help anthemic song.
Yes.
But it's also in kind of a fun way. And I think when I was I think I was reading like he wrote this about like coming out of his divorce.
It seems like it. Yeah, there's definitely kind of like the imagery of like, oh, we couldn't make it together. We're better off without each other, yada yada. But like usually I feel like those sort of themes and songs are difficult and not ones that I gravitate towards. But like this, I feel like it was done in a way that really got me. Yeah, and another thing I kind of realized listening to this, and I can't remember what else, there was something else on your list, and we'll get to it. But I'm apparently really drawn, like, because he kind of his vocal delivery, like it's very like kind of falsetto. Yeah.
I was like, I'm really drawn to that. Like, I don't know. I think that's as a person who like, and I know you can relate to this, like I have a deeper voice. I sing in a lower register. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I love Scott Walker and I love all those, but I think part of it is envy.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to be able to like sing high and pretty, and that's like for me that's a stretch and a reach for sure. Yeah, right. And Chicago's just a weird band, like rock and roll with horns. I know. I got like so into them last year, like head first, like dove in, listened to every single album and got obsessed. Oh my gosh. And all of my friends were like, why? I mean, I can see it. It's I don't know. It feels like research. And they kind of have this like unique niche of, you know, like rock and roll with horns. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I wonder if there's like a band out there that does ska covers of Chicago. I feel like that would be there has to be. If there's not, it's a hugely missed opportunity. Yeah. Chicago. I mean, there you go. So any listeners who are want to start a ska band, there's your concept. You can have that one on the house. Chicago. Yes. Gosh, that's good. Okay, well, we asked the big questions here. So, what is objectively, and we all know that I believe there's an answer to this question. What is objectively the greatest song of all time? Oh, that's for me easily. Well, not subjectively, but objectively. it's "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. Yeah, I mean, it just like it encapsulates the human experience so well. It focuses on like the positive in such a beautiful way, and it's just the most beautiful and sweetest. Perfect song. Like if there was one song, if every other song didn't exist and there was only one song, if it was that one, we wouldn't need any more. Yeah. If we didn't know there could be more, we would be completely happy. Yeah. Oh my god. And he just the way he sings it, and you know, what an amazing. Oh my gosh. We had this children's book when my daughter was a baby, and it was "What a Wonderful World," and it was the lyrics for the song, and like one of the. Whoa, I need that. It killed me. Yeah. Like, especially when you get to the part, I see babies cry, watch them grow, and I'm sitting there reading this to my infant child. Just break down, destroy you in like the best way too, you know? But it is. I feel like it's all the best things in life. Mm-hmm. And it is life. It's just like, it's life in a song. Yeah. I mean, how to pack such a and it's like, you know, it's like what, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes? Yeah, maybe I don't even know if it's even 3 minutes. It might be shorter than 3 minutes. I know. And it's everything. I love the idea. I'm imagining some sort of, I don't know, like movie or play concept where it's like, this is the only song that exists and nobody knows that there could ever be any other song, and somehow they discovered something else. Like, but what would you want to discover? It'll all be a letdown. I know, and I wonder what they do then. Are they like, do they embrace that there can be other options, or can they not help but like compare the two, and then they totally like banish the person who made the new song and delete all records? Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. This could be fun. Yeah, that's kind of that's a cool kernel of an idea right there. So bookmark that. Yeah, just giving all this stuff away today, apparently. That's what we're here to do. I'm not here to copyright too many ideas. Right. You know, we need humanity to keep going and spread, and ideas like fractalate off each other.
Okay, somehow I've closed the window with all the questions in it, and I don't have them memorized, so hang on.
Then we have the biggest question of all is, where are the questions? Once we unlock
Why are
that,
we here?
Yeah. then we've earned the right to be able to ask the rest of the questions once we can solve that big one.
Okay, we've found it. We can move on.
Nice.
The episode is saved. Oh yeah, okay. So kind of, this is kind of what's a song that you used to love, but now you find it a bit cringeworthy?
Oh yeah, I think that was definitely Limp Bizkit's Break stuff. Because that was one where I can like imagine being 10 years old and like riding around on my bike and like riding around the block and seeing if any of my friends are outside hanging out and like looking for people to play with and like feeling like almost like tweeny, kind of like where you start to get a little sassy in your life. And just like,
that's basically a description of my kid right now.
I am mad for no reason. And it's just because this song said that they're mad. And so now I'm mad too. Because, sometimes I've gotten out of bed and I didn't really like what followed that much as other times. But I mean, at this point, I've come full circle and now it's like, it's a cringy song, but like also I still love it.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
And that's the thing with, there's like, I don't believe in guilty pleasures. It's like what you like.
Totally. Yeah.
And of course there's things that, especially that we maybe like when we were younger, that now it's like, okay, there's some problematic aspects of it, but it's like, you can hold both things. You can be like, yes, I recognize these sort of issues with it.
Yeah.
But there's this other part of me that loves it.
Yeah.
And
there's like space for all of the layers and all of the feelings.
Yeah. And didn't Limp Bizkit have like a reunion recently or something?
I don't know. Was it because of the like Woodstock '99 docs that were coming out? They're like, oh yeah, people remember us.
Yeah, holy shit! I swear that they played like Pitchfork Fest or something one year. I don't know.
Whoa.
Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe this was a dream I had, which is a weird dream to have because it's. I don't know.
That's cool. I mean,
always thought
Pitchfork has been reviewing a lot of like kind of anniversary albums. Maybe they should review Significant Other.
Yeah. I mean, we got to be on the 20th something, right? At this point.
It must be. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Limp Bizkit, it's such a I remember I think I was in college when this came out.
Nice.
And it was like all the frat guys loved it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It was because they would act so aggro and like
whatever for.
Right.
I don't understand the connection.
and like Fred, I always thought Fred Durst, it's funny, he's a big tough guy, or what he thinks he's this big tough guy.
Yeah.
But he has this like the weakest vocal delivery, and like it's just that dichotomy is like you're singing about all this stuff, but it sounds kind of meek, and then until you get into the when the breakdown happens and it explodes, then you're
it's very meta. It's like because one thing in one extreme is true, then the exact opposite on the other side is just as true.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know, it's really interesting, and I wonder too if they did make a comeback, like, are people into that? Do people want that in 2023? I don't know. I mean, why not?
You know what I've experienced just in my own microcosm of like the local Minneapolis / St. Paul music scene where I live is like people love nu metal and people are covering Limp Bizkit at shows.
Oh my gosh.
For sure. Yeah. And
wow,
like queer people and like it's not like fratty or broy, although that energy is still there, but it's just like I mean, things are tough and people want to like play with that energy and just like get wild.
I think that's I think it's really interesting thinking about it coming from that other, like a totally different perspective. And
it's cool to like take that and own it for like the queer community too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. No, okay. I'm all for that. I haven't seen any Limp Bizkit covers around here, but maybe I'm not going to the right shows. Well, this is kind of maybe a little bit the not total opposite, but maybe adjacent. what is the song that most people hate or don't like, but you absolutely love it?
This one I feel like gets me in trouble, or like gets people are like to criticize about it, or they're just like, no, you will not play this song if I'm ever trying to. And it's Photographed by Nickelback. Yeah, I mean it's just truly like, it's such a sentimental and sappy and emotional song that they tricked me. Like, they got me. I think that, and that's probably what they were going for, is they're like, we need a hit that's like so identifiable with everyone and that's so nostalgic. And so I'm like, their marketing campaign worked and they tricked me, and I like their song.
Oh my God. That's what. So I had managed to avoid this song my entire life.
I mean, naturally, I feel like most people do with no problem.
My biggest takeaway from it was like, what is going on with the vocal production on this song? Like, what in the hell are they trying? Like, it's so weird and terrible, and it could maybe be really interesting, but it's so strange.
I mean, it's technically it's experimental music because of the vocal production.
It's like, and it's not at all what it starts out, it's this acoustic guitar or whatever, and you're like, okay, you think in your head, I know what this is going to sound like. It's going to sound like every other. And then this weird, like, because it's clearly doubled or tripled, and there's some, I don't know what
might be quadrupled.
Yeah, I mean, it's
two doubler effects.
Yeah. Right, I was going to say, it's not even actually doubled. It's just effects, because it sounds, it has this kind of robotic tinge to it. Yeah. It is. It's very avant-garde.
It is. It's like so avant-garde in the vocal treatment that, like, in music academia, they'll be teaching it in the future, like, alongside Laurie Anderson's Oh, Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Those two songs.
Oh my God. I want to meet the professor the first one that brings this out, and just the look on everybody's face, like, is he fucking playing Nickelback right now? Like, wait a minute.
I would love to see that.
I was pretty shocked, and then I don't know, and the lyrics, it doesn't seem real. Like, there's this. The whole thing about someone, I feel like Joey's head.
I think the lyrics are maybe the sort of thing where it's like they had a group of songwriters in Sweden who wrote the song in Swedish and then translated it to English, or maybe just like kind of wrote it in English as their second language and then said, here, Nickelback, here are your lyrics.
Oh, that's great. I love it though. That's I would not have guessed that was the answer to this question, and that's why I love doing this. Yes. And there are no guilty pleasures here. Like I said, no. That's okay. Well, on a completely different tangent, what is the most romantic song?
That one for me, I chose Joni Mitchell's Urge for Going. Because that one is just, for me, it's like so poetic, and it's really sad. Like, it's not like a romantic, like happy ending love story song, but it's a very much like the pursuit of loves, like multiple loves across an entire lifetime, and like parting ways. And so I think it's got that happiness and sadness, bittersweet romance feeling that I completely am in love with.
Oh, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I am like a sucker for that kind of thing, or I'm a sucker for like the sort of doomed romance, like Romeo and Juliet. I am all like,
totally,
like
humanity loves it. We keep telling that story over and over again. We must really like it for now.
Yeah. Do you think of yourself as a romantic?
Oh, totally. Yeah. There's like lots of love. That's just like part of my energy intrinsically, and I find romance in everything for sure.
I think that's awesome though. I think it's especially, I don't know, in the world we live in today, like trying to find those things, those moments in everyday aspects of our lives. It's more, it feels even more powerful,
Yeah, I feel like it's important to even just try to be able to get there so that you just have a better time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a helpful tool, I think, really.
Yeah, I do too. I think so. I think, yeah, romance is an underrated and not, and you know, and I always love to think about interpreting this question, interpreting the word romance, because a lot of people think of it as, you know, romantic love, and like, it's like, but it's so much more. It's such a bigger thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, with that Joni Mitchell song, like, yeah.
Because there's room for joy and room for sorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, room for so many emotions there.
Yeah, that's great. What is a song that changed your perspective on an artist?
Ooh, let's see. Okay, yeah. This one for me was it was the live version of You Gave Me a Mountain by Elvis Presley, which is a cover, and I'm forgetting the original songwriter. I think it was like a country song.
I think so.
But this, like, hearing this and hearing that whole live at the Honolulu International Center album kind of made me think about Elvis differently, and especially after seeing the like biopic that came out about him. I kind of see him now as somebody who was like, oh, you were like crafting a sound, and you were like really like on this journey of trying to make that happen, and like blend so many things and like make it as big as possible. Yeah. And like devoting an entire lifetime to doing that. And he's a Capricorn, so I just like have to as like a Cap, Sun, and Moon, I have to just like give a lot of respect to other Capricorns constantly.
Yeah, I think like one of the words I wrote down in the notes for this is majestic. Yeah, and it's like you were saying, he was cultivating this thing. It's very large, like everything he did. And I first heard this a couple months ago. So my dad was getting rid of his record collection and, you know, trying to downsize, and I was like, oh, well, let me go through them and, you know, see what I want to keep. Yeah. And this was one of the records, and I mainly got it because my wife loves Elvis, and I hadn't at this point, like, I didn't listen to a lot of Elvis, you know, but I was like, oh, she'd be into this, and so I got it, and we put it on one night, and I was like, oh my god, this is great.
It's a great show. Just like if I were to like see like that entire show, I'm sure I would have been blown away.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was really taken aback. And I feel the same. Like, it kind of changed my perspective on him too. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I need to watch that.
It's cool. I would recommend it. It's I feel like any music docs or movies I generally end up really enjoying.
Yeah. So that's great. No, I've never seen. Have you watched the like concert footage of this, or have you?
No, but if that exists, I would love to see it. There must be something.
Because I think I read that it was broadcast on network TV, so it's got to exist somewhere. Everything exists somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, what are your favorite lyrics, whether it's a song or just like a single line? What song, Larry Wish, has your favorite lyrics?
Oh, that's going to be Answers by R. Stevie Moore.
Oh, nice.
Because the lyrics are so like, they feel like very like template driven. Like he's very much taking like a style of poetry and like sticking to that style. But it just like makes me think of Shel Silverstein so much, and the lyrics are so just like playful and like almost like a nursery rhyme or like a children's song. And I just think that there's like a fun, like nice cleverness in them too.
I think so. Yeah, that was my first note on here. Is like, I love the way these lyrics are put together. Yeah, and I just there's and like I feel like the song, there's kind of sort of something that's like this kind of hypnotic quality to it that is really like exponentially amplified by the structure and the approach of the like lyrics. It just pulls you into this world of this song.
Yes. It is like being in a room. It's like that song is definitely like a room with a specific aesthetic.
Yeah. And the Shel Silverstein, that's a really, as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, this definitely gives me that vibe. And speaking of great falsettos, there you go, like on this R. Stevie Moore.
Yeah, yes.
Are you a big R. Stevie Moore fan?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Really, like, I'm just like still, of course, like probably everyone else, like finding more and more stuff because he has like an endless supply.
And he's like this chameleon or something because he has this endless supply and you never quite know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, and I love that in an artist. I love seeing people like explore and like try the most different things that they can come up with at the time. I think, I have huge respect for that. Yeah,
no, he's great. And this is, gosh, I'm not the Shel Silverstein. That Steen thing's gonna like live. And Shel Silverstein's like a big thing in our house. Like my daughter really loves Shel Silverstein, and she's like every time it'll be like, oh, you need to go do some reading for school. Half the time she wants to read one of those.
Cool.
And it's like, yes, yeah. So what is a song that you have or that you can listen to the most?
Oh, a song that I can listen to the most. Let's see, because there's what's your favorite song, and then there's this one. Yeah, and that's different. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like a song that I can listen to the most. It was probably song I can listen to the most is probably Inca Dance by Cusco.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this was something I had never heard this in my life until this. And I feel like there's maybe something problematic about a bunch of German guys like making
Sure. Yeah, it's like it's appropriation straight up, for sure.
Yeah. And but it's also it's a blast. It's like and I'm a big panpipe apologist. You know, there's some big panpipe backlash at some point.
Probably.
I love panpipes. I'm bring out your panpipes.
Well, for me, like I'm a huge Coast to Coast fan, and this song plays at the end of every Coast to Coast episode. So, like in my early 20s, I was like listening to every episode like every night, like staying up until 3 or whatever. And so, like this has like a special place in my heart for that reason. Of like, it just reminds me of like spirituality and like ghosts and aliens and like weirdness and question marks and mysteries and like all these things that I love so much.
Yeah, that's great. It feels very like when I was reading about this, it was like, oh yeah, of course they're German. And I say this as somebody with a lot of like comes from a German family background, which also sounds maybe not great, but it feels very German. Sure. And on a recent episode, Rasputin by Boney M came up, which is another one of those songs. It's like, this is so German. Yes. This is like the most. Yes. There's just something about the Germans that.
I do want to listen to that song now.
That was my pick for a song that people hate, and the people is my daughter that I love. She hates every time.
It doesn't have to be multiple people. It can be one person.
No. Yeah. That's what I try to tell people. It's like, make your own context, because a lot of times I don't know what people. I'm not super aware of what But yeah, Cusco. And this is the only song of theirs I've ever heard, so I have no idea what any of their stuff sounds like.
I'll admit, I've never tried to like listen to albums or anything. I'm like quite happy with this one.
But panpipes. Bring panpipes back, people. Well, what's a cover song that is better than the original?
For this one, I chose this. Gosh, this is probably controversial, but for this one, I chose the Residents version of Jambalaya by Hank Williams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because what I love about covers and about playing other people's music is like when an artist or a group like truly makes a whole different world out of it and makes it their own and makes it like you don't even recognize it.
Right. Yeah. And if I didn't know this was a Hank Williams song, I would never ever guess.
Yeah, it's like not apparent at all.
No.
Except for it's on like the Stars and Hank Forever album. So it's like they're doing like John Philip Sousa and they're doing Hank Williams covers.
Right. Which is such a wild thing in and of itself.
Oh yeah,
but
super American, very very patriotic.
Yeah, yeah. And patriotic is definitely the word that comes to mind when I think of the Residents.
Well, maybe like truly, like, you know, not,
that's true.
Not in like the way that kind of like 4th of July enthusiasts would maybe embody, but like kind of in the way of like, oh, free thought.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, are you a big Residents fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hugely.
I don't know their catalog as well as I feel like I should. It's one of those things where it's like anytime, like I've heard a lot of it,
right,
but I've never like, I don't know, gotten in deep. I feel like it's a rabbit hole. If I go down, it's going to become like a thing.
So, start with Meet the Residents. It's like kind of their first like official album, and it's like
go from there.
You know, you get to meet them, Meet the Residents.
Yeah.
It's got the great title. Yeah, it's got the great Meet the Beatles album cover parody.
Man.
And it's just like very weird and operatic and like very different from the rest of their albums because there's so much like acoustic piano and like kind of minimal synth, and it's like a rare and special one, but it like I think it gets you into their vibe really well, that they like carried on until like they're still carrying it on.
Right, I was gonna they're God, they've been around forever. That's like one of those things where, and they're one of those bands that have been around forever and they're still interesting and still, you know, that's hard, and that's take my hat off to that.
Truly. Yeah.
All right, we're coming down the home stretch here. We got 2 to go.
Cool.
The big ones, you could say.
Cross my fingers. For some reason.
What's the song that means the most to you? Not because of the song itself, but because you either you associate it with something or someone or like an experience that's really important to you.
Oh, yeah. So this one is going to be You're Still on My Mind by George Jones. Because it country music came to me in such a specific time of my life that like it showed up exactly when it needed to show up. You know, like
really,
yeah, because I would say like before like 2020, I didn't really listen to country very much at all. I was kind of like, oh, like, you know, Dolly Parton and Johnny Cash are cool,
right?
And that's what I know about.
Yeah.
But just hearing George Jones's voice for the first time was a very special occasion for me, and it was like a punch in the chest, and it was so out of left field, and I was not expecting it at all, but it like made me completely fall in love with country music. Yeah. And made me want to know more about like an entire genre and an entire culture, and I feel like when that happens, like that's really special. When like a door opens to such a big room or such a new world that you haven't been in before, like I want that to always happen forever,
right?
You know, so that was my like special moment with that happening to me with like country music.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
and it led to the Stardust and Hurt album of like synthy country songs that I did. That wouldn't have happened without it.
I think that was the first thing of yours I ever wrote about, actually.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, no, I came to it pretty late too. I can't remember when it was, but George Jones was a big. It was a similar thing. It was, I don't know. There's something about his voice, and his songwriting is just incredible. Like the way his storytelling and his like all of it is so good, and he's a pretty fascinating character.
Yeah, I mean, multi-dimensional, like problematic, multi-layered, like beautiful expressionist. Yeah, there's like a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Who are some other country artists that you in this period that you discovered that you love?
Oh, Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
I've never really I've never like really listened to too much Willie Nelson, but then like dove in.
That man has a golden voice. Yeah. Oh my god.
Dolly Parton. It made me like love Dolly Parton even more and like want to like keep seeking out so much more. She's another Capricorn musician, you know, who has like reinvented herself over and over again, like made this entire universe, tried so many things, like, huge, deep, vast respect.
And it's done. It's just, and just, and she's another one, like, just, I mean, Willie too. I mean, they're both still out there.
Yes.
Like, just, I saw, gosh, it must have been 2005 or something. Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan toured together.
Right. I feel like I heard about that. Happening at
my
that
dad
time.
and I. It was in July, and it was outdoors at a baseball stadium.
Nice.
And July in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is horrible. It is 100 plus degrees.
Wow.
It is really humid. And I remember the day of, we were just like, "Are we gonna go?" It's awful, and it was like especially hot. We were just like, "That's gonna," you know. We're like, "No, we bought the tickets. We gotta go. We gotta go."
Nice.
And Willie played first, and it was just, he just had everybody in the palm of his hand, and his voice, he sounded perfect standing on a stage in the 110-degree heat in the middle of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, it was just perfection. And then Dylan was fun. Like, Dylan, in that tour, it was fine. You couldn't really, the sound was terrible, and you couldn't really tell one song from another. And he didn't seem like he wanted to be there at all. But
I've heard, I've heard it can be like that sometimes.
Yeah, but you know, I can be like, hey, I saw Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
so
truly.
But I love Willie's one of my big. I love Willie Nelson. I could listen to that man sing anything and just be happy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but George Jones, that's a great pick.
Nice.
All right, well, we've come to the end. The big question.
Cool.
I think I know the answer.
Yeah.
But Larry Wish, what is your favorite song?
That one is gonna be "Till I Die" by the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like every time I hear it, it feels like very grounding. It's very like spiritual and metaphysical in nature, and it aligns and like tunes me to those like cares that I have like within my soul, and I just love it so much. And just that it's like one that Brian Wilson like wrote the words to and the music to, and that it's kind of like purely like his expression. I just think it's such a beautiful song, and talk about like one that like makes you cry. Like that one always gets me. So romantic, so poetic. It's like, oh, we're not going to be here forever, but like actually like probably will be. It's like energy is forever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I love it.
That's such like a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is a song that changed my perspective on the Beach Boys, actually, because when I was a kid, if I was sick, if one of us was sick on a Sunday, like my mom went to church and would take us, but my dad stayed home. And so if we were sick, we would stay home with my dad. And if I was staying home with my dad, we'd sit and listen to records.
Yeah.
And we would listen to Beach Boys records, but it was like the Surfing USA and like Barbara Ann, like
like early 60s stuff.
Yeah. And so, which is fun, which is great.
Yes.
Like, and so that was my impression. And then I remember much later in life, I was probably in my, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, hearing this song and just like my jaw just dropped. Like, it was just, it's like, oh my God, there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful song.
Yeah. I love showing this one to people that think they know like all of the Beach Boys stuff, but they haven't heard this for some reason. And it floors everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, yes, Pet Sounds is great, but keep going.
Yeah. Of course. There's so much to hear, and like so much is great.
Yeah. Well, this was fantastic. Like I said at the beginning, I feel like I have a new understanding, a better understanding of you as an artist, and I think that is why I love doing this. It's so much fun.
Well, I'm so glad that you're doing this, and I'm so grateful for you having me on. This is awesome.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing it, and thanks for just diving in head first. And then we overcame the technical difficulties. That,
I know. Yeah.
It was a journey to get here, but we got here in the end.
Yeah.
So Capricorn Sun is out now, and I'm sure you got some shows coming up. I don't know exactly when this will air, but if I'll let you know, and if there's a show coming up around then, I'll make sure we link it in the show notes or something.
That sounds good. I got one on Sunday evening. It needs to be done by Sunday. Where everyone go to the Eagles Club in Minneapolis on Sunday.
If you're not there, I'll know you didn't.
September 24th. No, there's so many. Do you want me to say any? If you're in the Twin Cities area, like there's a bazillion chances to see me solo and with my like newly established live band.
I saw you say something about that you have a new Larry Wish band.
There's a new Larry Wish band. I'm drumming and singing at the same time, which is fun. Wow. I haven't done that in like a decade.
Oh my gosh,
there's not a synth or a keyboard to be found. It's all guitars and bass and drums and singing for now.
It's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. Everybody go listen to Capricorn Sun, and there we go.
Thanks everybody. Bye.
Once again, huge thanks to Larry Wish for taking the time and just putting himself into this and just going for it. We had fun. We had a bunch of technical difficulties at the beginning that you didn't hear, of course, and we persisted, got through, got to know each other better, and again, it was wonderful. Please check out his new album, Capricorn Sun. Again, out now on Orange Milk Records. And if you are in Minneapolis, Twin Cities area, he should be playing some solo shows and the Larry Wish Band playing shows. So keep an eye out for those. Go see him. As for me, you know where to find me. Wherever on social media, at Foxy Digitalis. Over on Patreon, patreon.com/Foxy Digitalis. If you like these episodes and you want a little bit more, then that is the place for you. Each episode has exclusive Patreon section, and you get a bunch of other stuff. You get these episodes early, plus you get just tons of other stuff over there that's fun and wonderful and exciting, and it's just really goes to help support the cause and keep Foxy Digitalis going. Yes. Otherwise, send me an email, send me a voicemail. As a reminder, you can listen to all of Larry's picks at the link in the show notes. There is a playlist of all these songs on YouTube. So give them a listen, see what you think. I don't know, maybe they'll make you feel something similar or totally opposite. I have no idea, but you should check them out. Until next time, keep listening to whatever the hell you want.